please. Good morning, can you find the website?
Yes, good morning. Can I ask who I'm speaking to?
Anisha from Single Find the Website. How can I help?
Hi, Anisha. I'm ringing on behalf of my brother, Mr. Talib Hussain, date of birth 15/9/1960, and I would like you to put me through to Christopher Browell.
And can I take your name, please?
My name is Mr. Hussain.
Okay, just bear with me. Just taking some time to load, just bear with me. Hello, Shazad?
Yeah, hi, Chris. How are we doing?
I'm okay, you alright?
Yeah, I just missed your call on Friday, so I just thought I'd ring back to get an update on what's happening.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing, no much change. I spoke to Imran. He said that with the appointeeships, that really people are given the balance of what for the reasons why there is an appointeeship. That's why people are told their actual balance. That's kind of standard practice. I can try and speak with Ishmael this week. He's back from annual leave to see if Ishmael will provide any different answer. But yeah, there's not much change. I just spoke to Imran and he said that's the service users generally are told the balance of what they've got, what money they've got.
Okay, all right, but can you understand that this is completely unprecedented? First of all, my brother has not, the only reason why has he gotten an appointee? He's not authorized Bradford Council to be his appointee, have they? He's not authorized them to do that. And the thing is, the whole issue surrounds his capacity now. Can you understand that? How anything that you're doing now is being negated, because ultimately you're saying, look, we're trying to help you, we're trying to assist you. You can't even give Talib, when Talib, having mental capacity, has asked you the question of what's my balance. Can you understand? So everything else is mute, isn't it? Like, oh, we're trying to assist you, get registered, we're trying to provide services. Everything is now mute because Talib himself asked the question. And can you understand how powerful a move that is to be somebody's appointee? All right, that the person who's the money you're getting is not even having access to it. Now, look, obviously the background circumstances are that I've been my brother Talib's appointee for, God knows how long, for maybe 15, 20 years. I've been responsible for his money. And he's never complained that, oh, look, Shazad's not giving me any money. All right. And I was his appointee. And yet you, the local authority, said you're not giving him unfettered access to his money, and got a criminal conviction against me to send me to prison. So, I'm really struggling to understand how it is that if I do something, it's considered unlawful, illegal, there's a serious consequences of prison sentence. But yeah, if you, the local authority, do the exact same thing, all right, there is absolutely no consequences, because if I go to the police or if I go to somebody, the local authority can't physically get arrested, can they? And the local authority can't physically get thrown into prison. And I'm really struggling with this, because Talib on the one hand, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, Talib on the one hand, the only question he asked you is, what is my balance? And you not only are you not giving him unfettered access to his own money, you're not even telling him what balance he's got, and he's saying that because we're the appointee. Now, the only reason that you have become the appointee is through because Talib hasn't given you appointeeship. I have not relinquished my appointeeship. The only way that you have become Talib's appointee is through an aspect of fraud. Because can you understand that an appointeeship, right, is an instrument that somebody can say, look, I don't want to deal with my finances, and I'm going to give my finances authority to a trusted person. Now, that trusted person in this circumstances was myself. Talib has never had an issue with the trust, and obviously I continue to provide for him. But now, all of a sudden, it just seems that you've just taken over his money. All right, and you're not giving him any access to his own money for a period of 18 months. Chris, you're an intelligent person. You try to convince me that how is this any form of reasonableness or justifiable or acceptable? And then you're saying I'm getting frustrated or I'm getting like aggressive, or you basically stolen his money, haven't you? The local authority have just stolen his money. They didn't even need to tell him that. So why did I have to tell him about the money that he had? He had complete trust and faith in me, and I obviously I'm still here providing for him. So for you to just say nah, computer says no, all right, effectively is just basically just a whitewash and an abusive process, isn't it? So please try to tell me how we can move forward. If you're saying with an appointee, all right, surely the appointee has certain responsibilities. One of those responsibilities is to ensure the person is not becoming financially destitute. I'm really, really struggling with this, to understand how it is that the local authority can go to court and say, look, this person's not being provided with any money. We think the person that's not giving him any money is exploiting a vulnerable adult, and therefore send him to prison. All right, and that's happened. And then all of a sudden, for the local authority to say, well, okay, well, his brother was allegedly exploiting, or now we got him convicted, so let us now exploit him. Where is my brother's Talib, who's a vulnerable person? Where is his right to choose? Where is his right to make his own decisions? Where you've basically taken control of his finances. And that's exactly what you did with my mother. You've just basically taken control of her, said, no, she's not going to make any more decisions. We're going to make decisions on her behalf, quote unquote, in her best interest. She can't see her family members. All right, we're just going to take over the finances. So, please help me understand, where we go from here.
I can try and speak with Ishmael, so he can see if there's any different answer. It was Ishmael who said that if it was in writing, and we spoke about how Talib can't write to request the balance. I'll see if Ishmael has any different answer to what Imran gave.
But can you understand, Imran? I remember I've spoken to Imran many moons ago, and Imran's post as an appointee has been created as a result of this unique situation. An appointee is normally another person. All right, it's not a local authority who become the appointee, and I can understand where an appointeeship may be appropriate. Where, for example, Talib was in the care and custody of the local authority, and there was nobody else, advocating or acting in his best interest, or that he's not nominated somebody. But that's not these circumstances. My brother has nominated me numerous times, and it just seems that the local authority are saying that, well, you know what, we don't like who you've nominated, so we're just going to nominate ourselves without any, due process. And ultimately, this just comes down to tell me how this is not a deprivation of liberty.
I don't think it's a deprivation of liberty. I can understand your concerns about Talib's access to his money, although he's been offered the £250. If he started accepting the £250, maybe that figure could be, reviewed and maybe.
No, look, how much times do we have to say no? What aspect of no do you not understand? All right, what you're asking us to do is accept criminal proceeds. What you're asking us to do is something that's not acceptable. We're saying no, and you say, well, let's just wait. Let's see. Well, let them get desperate. You know what? Bottom line is this: we would rather die than accept money from an organization that's murdered our mother. All right? You can go stick the money up your ass. We don't want the £250 because it's not your money. It's not your place to give it to him. Who made you in charge? Who put you in charge of the local authority to say, oh, look, we're going to now give you £250 of our own money? How have you done this? And the only way that you have done this is by taking public money and bribing and prostituting out the judges. That's the only way you could do this. There is no law that allows this to happen. Now you're saying it's not a deprivation of liberty. I don't know what your definition of what deprivation of liberty is. Your definition of what deprivation of liberty is some sort of colloquial term that you as a local authority or legal jargon that you put forward. Liberty is the ability to do what you want without interference from somebody else. My brother has and he can do that because he has, like everybody else, he has mental capacity to make his own decisions and own choices in his own life. That's his liberty. You've taken away his liberty. You've deprived him of his liberty. When I say it's a deprivation of liberty, it's in the sense that he's a citizen who has rights. He's a vulnerable person, and you are exploiting his vulnerability in order to financially profit and plunder and profiteer. Now, can you understand, Chris? We've had previous conversations. This money is not even your money, the council's money. This is Talib's Department of Work and Pension state benefit money. All right, that anybody can make an application to get benefit money for. All right, that's his benefit money that you're now controlling and not giving him access to, which is effectively exposing him to serious risk of life, limb, and liberty. All right, life and limb, because he can die now. All right, and you've just got all his money. You basically starve, just like you starve somebody of oxygen, you're starving him of money, so you're effectively trying to kill him off because you've taken off all his money. Now you can say, no, we don't agree with that. Well, you could not agree with it, but what, 2 points. What is Talib supposed to live off for the last 18 months? What is he supposed to live off going forward? Number one. No, why don't you say, why don't you say this? Why don't you say this, yeah? Why don't me and Talib come over to Ishmael and to you and give you guys a blowjob so we can get our money? Why don't we do that? Or even better, why don't you pull your pants down and let us lick your ass so we can get money so we can live? Why don't you do that? But that's something that we will agree with. Put that forward to Ishmael. Me and my brother Talib will come down and we'll give you guys a blowjob and we'll lick your ass for you for the £250. That's something we will agree with. How's that with?
I'm just speaking as what I've been made aware of from the appointeeship. So like I said before.
Have I been
mainly to Talib's welfare. It's not really my business regarding its finances. I'm like you say, I'm not the decision maker. I've just been allocated to kind of monitor his welfare. All I'm doing is kind of providing the message that I'm being given.
Look,
that's all.
Okay, Chris, if I've raised my voice, I'm not raising it at you, am I? All right.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not raising. If I've said something that is like untoward or unprofessional, you can understand the situation and position that you placed us into. But it's not you, is it? You're not, like you said, you're not the decision maker. You're just the messenger. Yeah. And often they say, don't shoot the messenger. But unfortunately, we've got no way of expressing what the situation we're in. So I'm just expressing to you that, look, you're saying you're looking after his welfare, but you've taken away his money. All right. And then what welfare are you looking after? You don't even speak Talib's language. You've got no history with Talib. All right. You've got no input other than what you've seen him on one occasion where he's told you, what's my balance? And you're saying, no, computer says, no, we're not even going to give you the balance of the DWP benefit money that we're accumulating. So that was the first point. Yeah.
If I was to speak like what my view on it is that, you know, I'd like Talib to be given access to his money. It's not my decision that he can be given unfettered access. However, if he were to accept the £250, I would then try and get him as much possible access to his money as possible.
Just hold on. Just hold on a second. No, just hold on a second. You said you're not going to give him unfettered access to his money. Why?
No, I'm saying I can.
No, I know. But this is, but
I don't
I know, I know, I
understand.
understand. What you're saying to me is this: that the financial protection team are accepting and willing to give Talib £250. So I can facilitate that. That's what you're telling me. So the decision to give £250 is not your decision. It's a decision that's been made by the council. The council says what we're happy with is that going forward from now, we're going to give you £250. All right, and that's something that we're happy with. And so your job as a council employee is to help facilitate the delivery of £250. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if there's a substantial amount of money that he's tallied, then he should be paid backdated.
Yes.
And that it should be more than £250.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Yes. It's a lot of money, and can you understand that the money that you're holding, there's been a criminal case where somebody's gone to prison for holding Talib's money. That's me. That's you, the council, convicted me of. So you, the council, have convicted me of the very same thing that you're doing now. Now, your argument, like you said, he can't have unfettered access to his benefit money. But the question arises is that why can he not have unfettered access to his benefit money? Because that's what you convicted me of. You didn't convict me of, oh, you're not giving him £250 a week. You convicted me of not giving him, quote unquote, unfettered access to his benefit money. All right. So why? Can you please explain to me why Talib cannot have unfettered access to his benefit money? Now your argument's going to come back, and it's a circular argument, isn't it? We're saying that he can't have unfettered access to his benefit money because he suffers from paranoid schizophrenia, and also that he lacks mental capacity. Yep. So we're back at square one. That's your argument, isn't it? Because why do you or every other person have unfettered access to their own money, but Talib doesn't? What have you proven, or what have you? What?
That's not my argument. That seems to be like the current kind of reality of the situation. I haven't kind of influenced that decision. That decision has been made, or is being.
Is it a lawful? Is it a lawful decision?
If that's not, I don't know enough about.
Okay. Well, Chris, you can understand. All you've managed to establish so far, what you, the local authority, have bought off the judges and done this for you. All you've managed to establish that I'm a criminal. All you've managed to establish that I'm a fraudster. All you've managed to establish I was frauding and being criminal against my own brother, who I'm now caring for 24 hours a day. That's all you've managed to establish. Nothing's been established regarding Talib. What nobody's disagreeing with is that Talib is a vulnerable person. What nobody's disagreeing with is that Talib suffers from a mental health condition which you classify as paranoid schizophrenia, which I don't believe is paranoid. There's no paranoia about it. I mean, look at this situation. You've just murdered his mother, and you're saying, oh, he's paranoid, by saying that you can say that I'm even paranoid. He suffers from schizophrenia, which means that he hears voices. That's it. And dealing with the mental health, working closely with the mental health team, that loads of people hear voices, all right, that are classified as schizophrenic. They don't have this deprivation of liberty to access to their own finances. The bottom line, Chris, is the reality. Look, and I know, you can say I don't know enough about it, but the fact that you, the local authority, have criminally convicted me of a crime that I could not have committed, which was my brother giving me his benefit money. All right. In addition to the benefit money, you've said, all right, you are also not giving him access to his direct payments, which was a substantial amount, which, as it presently stands, Chris, was, the last time I checked, was £410 a week. All right. That was £410. That's £410 and 70 pence a week times 52. All right. That was £21,000 a year that he was receiving, that in August 2012 you stopped. So that's over 20 years ago. No, sorry, over 10 years ago. So you basically, in this process, saved on social care payments, social care, not benefit money now, social care, that's local authority money of £410 a week. Over 10 years, Chris, I've just calculated that as £213,000. £213,564 that you've not paid him for his social care benefit money, which you're saying you have a duty of care to meet. So you've not met any of his social care needs for the last 10 years. You've saved over £213,000. In addition to the £213,000, you've taken £500,000 from me. So we're now talking about, this is legitimate accountable money. Yeah, we're now talking about what, 713,000, in excess of £700,000 that you the local authority have financially benefited without taking into account the DWP benefit money that you've been accumulating. So can you understand? These are very large sums. It's not £50, £250 here. It's over £213,000, which is quantifiable, that you, the local authority, have not paid Talib his social care money. We're not talking about benefit money. We're talking about his social care money. And hence why you're saying that, oh, I've told you my brother's out on a Section 117 mental health aftercare. Any costs associated with this care delivery has to be met by you, the local authority, which is presently being met by me. So that's money, that's serious money. We're not talking about £1,000 or tens of thousands of pounds. We're talking in excess of hundreds of thousands of pounds that you, the local authority, over the last 10 years have not paid him in social care. Now, that is a fact, isn't it? I mean, you've looked into my brother's records. He was being paid direct payments, wasn't he? Of over £410 a week.
Yes,
yeah. Yeah. So now he's not been paid that money for the last 10 years, has he?
If you say so, no.
Yeah, and he's not received any paid money from you, the council, have they? He's not received any paid services from you, the council.
I don't think so.
No. So what, that is corrected, isn't it? So on the one hand, he was receiving £410 a week, which was effectively you, the local authority, accepting that we have a duty of care to this person. We can't meet those needs, so we're just going to pay him through direct payments, which you were tasking me to take responsibility for. But irrespective, that is an excessive amount of money. That's one lump of money that you've saved upon, which is over, as I've explained, over £213,000 for the last 10 years. That was at a rate of £410 a week. That's his social care direct payment money that you've not paid him. One. For the last 18 months, all right, he's not had any access to his money, all right, at all, not one penny. Prior to that, I had agreed to accept money on his behalf, all right, and you were paying me some like £200 a week or something in a scattered manner. So since 2016, which is what 6 years ago, he's not had unfettered access to his own benefit money. But in addition to this, you've then taken like I think 90,000 pounds from my bank account and said, look, this is Talib's money, and you've given it to Adalat. All right. So that's 90,000 pounds there. So can you understand? This is a large amount of money, whichever way you look at it. And Talib right now needs dental care. He's struggling to eat because obviously his teeth are falling out. Now I want to help him, all right, and he's asking me to help him. He's not asking you to help him. He's not asking anybody else. And because you, the council, are not dentists. You, the health authority, are not dentists. You, the mental health team, are not dentists. He has no more mental health care needs. Those are being facilitated and met. He has physical needs that are not being met. He has basic human needs that are not being met, namely access to security of finance, security of accommodation, security, and like anybody else, he's entitled to NHS services. None of those things are being provided to him. So please help me understand your job, Christopher Browell. How is anything assisting in his welfare other than me?
Well, yeah, think you're quite right, but that's because I've only seen Talib once.
On one occasion, and on that one occasion, he's asked you a simple question: how much money have you got of mine? What's the balance of the amount of money? Did you see me coach him to do that? I didn't coach him to do that. He came up to you and he's aware that he's got money. He's aware that he's got property and stuff which you're trying to take off him now. All right. You can only do this if the person is mentally incapacitated or lacks capacity, and that issue has not been formalized. You don't have that. In fact, you got quite the opposite. You got Vicina Brown, your manager, coming down in 2019, doing a mental capacity assessment while I was being detained by the police, all right, on, I think, the 1st of April or sometime in March 2019, all right. So while I was being physically detained by the police, yeah, I think at the start of March 2019, and the police captured my brother Talib in the vehicle and drove him to Oldham because they said, where do you want to go? He goes, I want to go to my sister in Oldham. So he was driven by the police to Oldham in March 2019. Vicina Brown came down with her colleagues, did a mental capacity assessment and determined that this person has mental capacity to decide where he wants to stay. And he stayed there temporarily in 2019. So there's evidence there that, he can make the decision to decide where he wants to stay. There's no impediment of his mental health condition of schizophrenia impeding with his rights to make a decision of where he wants to stay. Similarly, he's made the decision with that same mental capacity that I want to, previously, even now, on going forward, that I want my brother Shazad to take care of my finances. All right, because he knows that's the best thing for him, and he's been doing that. And I tell you how long he's been doing that now. I've been taking control of Talib's finances in an informal capacity before it becoming more formal. Namely, I becoming his appointee since the year 2000 for 22 years. For 22 years, I'm his brother. I've been taking care of his finances, and he's never gone without, except for now when you, the local authority, are now controlling his finances. So, when you're saying, I'm looking out for his welfare, what welfare are you looking out for? Is it not the case that you, the local authority, have taken away all the money, starving us of oxygen effectively, starving us of our liberties, waiting for a crisis to happen? Is that not the case? Because what are you waiting for? This is not your money. We're not even asking for the £213,000 that you saved, which you've accumulated, which you've not provided Talib with service with. All right? We're not even asking for that. We're asking for the minimum of what anybody can apply to the DWP and get benefit money for. This is my brother's disability living allowance. This is my brother's, incapacity benefit. You're not even giving us the basic minimum of what anybody would get. And then you're saying that we're monitoring. What are you not simply monitoring, waiting for us to have a crisis and for him to die? Is that what you just? It seems that effectively that's true, isn't it? You're just monitoring the situation until Talib dies, because you're not providing him with anything. Now, Chris, go on.
I don't know where we're at with the protest, but there was the court proceedings for Talib's capacity to be assessed. So I think we're at a kind of a stalemate because, Talib wasn't assessed.
No. What happened was that it is an imperative that Talib gets railroaded into being assessed as he lacks capacity. So you, the local authority, have bought the judge off, all right, and you have bought the assessor of Dr. Todd, all right, and the judge in this case, who's the same judge in my mother's case. So right now, can you understand, Chris? You're an intelligent person. If my brother has capacity, then you're going to have to fork over £1 million. The local authority can't afford to do that, because if he has capacity, then the criminal conviction falls apart. So you basically, what was happening was, when you became involved, was that a mental capacity assessment was being railroaded through Dr. Todd, whose services the local authority had previously bought, and assessed my mother while she was sleeping that she lacks capacity, in order for her to be abducted by the local authority and eventually murdered off. All right. So that same Dr. Todd was being commissioned by the local authority to give a report of Talib lacking capacity. It was not the case that he was going to assess Talib as a neutral person with the view of, like abiding by the law. No, no. His services were privately commissioned for a predetermined outcome, and that outcome was a mental capacity report that says that, in my expert opinion, Talib lacks mental capacity, which then justifies everything that you've done. All right. So that was the situation in August, September, October, November, December, and January and February. The very time period that you were plotting, planning, and as a local authority to murder my mother. Now, what happened was that you were threatening to send me to prison if I did not facilitate the mental capacity assessment. Unbeknown to you, I had independently got a mental capacity assessment done. So Dr. Todd's services were not needed. All right. So Talib has had a mental capacity assessment done. We're at a stalemate now because you can't do anything. We're at a stalemate now because Dr. Todd was not able to carry out a fraudulent mental capacity assessment, and the courts can't do anything because the judge was privately commissioned to railroad through the fact that Talib lacks mental capacity. He can't do that because I presented him with evidence that he does not lack capacity. An independent mental capacity assessment report was done in August last year. Now, that has to stand. Because there's no point saying, oh, well, now will you facilitate a mental capacity assessment, and now we can retrospectively say that Talib lacks mental capacity, because now his mum's died and he's like become even more isolated and does not want to speak to anybody. So we're at a stalemate because, you know what, Chris, this is what should have happened. From the very beginning, when you stopped the money 10 years ago, you should have determined what Talib's mental capacity is. You could have had an opportunity to, and then subsequently, Talib has ended up in your care and custody, the local authorities' care and custody, in 2018, exactly 4 years ago, where he was detained by you as in the mental hospital, Linfield Mount Hospital, and you wouldn't give me access. I couldn't even visit him. So you and the doctors and the council and everybody had an opportunity to establish that this person lacks mental capacity. You failed to do so. In fact, you did the opposite. You established that he has capacity because he refused to go live in a care home. So we're at a stalemate because you, the local authority, want an outcome. All right. You, the local authority, want to say 2 + 2 = 22. All right. And you paying for that outcome, and it's not happening because 2 + 2 = 4, and my brother has capacity. And you, the local authority, cannot accept that he has a capacity. Because if in order for you to accept that he has capacity, then the question arises, what have you done all this for? You've taken over all his money, you've deprived him of his liberty. For the last 335 days of our mum's life, he didn't get to see his mother. All right? You're basically targeting me. And by targeting me, you are effectively making my brother Talib suffer and my sister suffer and other people suffer. So what have you achieved in all this? Can you understand? We're at a stalemate now because the judge has been privately commissioned to railroad an outcome that my brother lacks mental capacity so that you can be in your position of power, control, dominance, and justify the hundreds of thousands of pounds that you've stolen from us. But you can't do that because Talib has capacity, and I've had it legally established that he has capacity. So the judge can't proceed. The council can't proceed. So that was back in February. We're now in August. This court case cannot proceed forward because the only outcome is that my brother has mental capacity. There's insurmountable evidence, monumental evidence on over and over and over again that my brother shows my mental capacity. And you, the local authority, just cannot accept that. Because fundamentally, Mr. Browell, this is one of the reasons that you're saying that, oh, I don't believe that you should get £1 million a week. Because you know why? If you don't pay me £1 million a week, the local authorities has to go bankrupt then. So it has to die effectively. So I'm doing them an act of mercy. I'm doing them an act of charity by saying I will accept £1 million a week, backdated 20 years, because they have money. Because alternatively, it's the curtains. because you've effectively murdered our family members. You're stealing money from us. You're exploiting. You cannot justify being a local authority, especially a local authority as a city of culture, when you're doing acts of barbarism, when you're doing acts of criminality, when you're doing acts of mafia cartel bullying and intimidating. How can you justify being a city of culture when you're doing this to vulnerable people, Asian minority people, Muslim people, and you're doing this to people that you have a duty of care to safeguard and protect? So, please, Chris, tell me, because Mr. Muller is basically going to give you what the answer of the council is. No, we're not going to tell you what balance you've got, all right? And we're waiting for, because what the stalemate now is that Talib's got no access to money, number one. Talib's got no access to any medication, number two. All right, no means to get access to any medication because you've removed my lasting power of attorney for his health and welfare, so that I can't move forward. He's got no access to accommodation. Presently, we're living here. There's no security of accommodation. He doesn't have a tenancy of this place. All right, the local authority are commissioning the services of the housing association to put this matter back into courtroom and buying off the judges in order to make us homeless again. So he's not had access to his benefit money for the last not a penny of his benefit money for the last 18 months. Before that, there was some sort of scattered approach. A minimalist money was being paid to me, not to Talib. And for the last 10 years, you've not paid him any social care money. And so, in all likelihood, Mr. Muller, Mr. Browell, what's the position of Mr. Muller going to be other than no, we're gonna go with Imran and say no, we're not going to even give you access to his balance. So, all right, assume the fact that that is the situation. Where do we go from there then?
I don't know. Again, I don't really be kind of following instructions really.
And who's the one that's giving you instructions?
So there's no one particular person. Like I said, there's maybe the legal department, because they said it was in the courts. I don't know what the current situation is with the OPG and the matters going through the courts, but I just kind of follow whatever the legal department says.
But can you understand? Are you familiar with the Nuremberg defense?
No.
All right. So the Nurembergs were trials committed after the Second World War, where the Nazis were, put on trial. All right, and their defense was that we were just following orders. All right. So it got established at the start of this Western world, in this Western civilized world after the Second World War, that is not a defense in law. The Nuremberg trials, where loads of prominent Nazis, all right, were put on trial and convicted. What their defense was, that say, look, why did you go killing all these people? And the defense was, well, hey man, we were just following orders. You can't hold us accountable. And through the Nuremberg trials, it got established in the Western world that is not a defense in law. So for you, Mr. Browell, to say, look, you know what, I'm just following orders. All right? And if you're just following orders, knowing the fact that you're putting another individual's life in jeopardy, then you have no accountability yourself, Mr. Browell.
I don't really know what else I can do.
No, Mr. Browell, that's not the question. I've sat here and we've had many hour-long conversations. You fully understand Talib's situation, that Talib is a vulnerable person. You understand the circumstances that he's been now led into. Under normal circumstances, there's a serious risk of him dying, isn't there? Because he's got no access to his money, he's got no access to any health care, he's got no access to security of accommodation. So basically, he's been neglected by the state. You see that, don't you?
You've explained that's what you're...
Come on, you're being very... Look, Mr. Browell, you're being very diplomatic. You can see, and it's not... You're an intelligent person, and with that, and you're in a position of authority, and with that comes with certain responsibility. You can understand that my brother is now there's a serious safeguarding issue, not from you that I'm a threat, but there's a serious safeguarding issue to his life because you're a threat. You, the police, the health authority, the council, the courts, the judges, the solicitors, the barristers, you're now a serious threat to my brother's life because he's not going to access to any money. Now you know this, that would it surprise you if my brother dies? It wouldn't surprise anybody because, like, for example, if I take away your oxygen and I know that your oxygen is being depleted, it's no surprise that you're gonna die. It's no surprise if I lock you in a room and don't give you food and water, that in 15-20 days you're gonna die, aren't you? That's not a surprise. So for example, Mr. Browell, if you were in a locked room, all right, and I know that you're in a locked room and you've got no access to water, and I know you got no access to water or food, and I do nothing, and you die, am I not accountable for you dying?
I think that, the local authority position will be that Talib is being offered access to his money, but you have said that you don't want.
No, please. You've made an offer which is illegitimate. There has to be a legitimacy. I asked you the simple question, Mr. Browell. If you were in a locked room and nobody knew this, and you didn't have access to food and water, and you died, and nobody knew this, who's responsible for your death?
If nobody knows that I'm in a locked room,
yeah,
I'm not sure who'd be responsible.
Nobody's responsible in it because nobody knows. But if I know that Mr. Browell is in a locked room and he's going to have no access to food and water, and then I do nothing because I say, look, that's nothing to do with me. I know he's in a locked room. I know nobody's going to release him, all right? But I do nothing and you die. Would you not say I'm responsible for your death?
It's difficult to say that where the responsibility would be if the person has no option to influence the situation. So.
Okay, all right.
And that is ongoing in the courts, and I don't really have an influence upon that.
Okay, all right.
You're stating your perspective, and the LA, they're presenting their perspective, and the two don't meet. I don't really have an influence on what is right and wrong there. So
okay, so hence why I said that if today we were living not in England, if we were living in 1940, and this was Germany, all right, and you were a Nazi, all right, and I was a Jew, are you trying to tell me that there's no accountability to you as a Nazi when you're putting me into, the concentration camps so I can die?
I said it's not me doing that though.
I know, but
I don't have an impression on that decision.
But can you understand that Mr. Browell, can you not understand that is exactly what the Nazi soldiers were doing? They're saying it's not our decision, we're following orders. That's what you're telling.
I'm not implementing any orders.
Yes, you are. You are. You know what is? How can you say you're not implementing any orders? You have been ordered to transcribe a letter from English to Urdu. That's what you've been ordered to do. You did that, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, so that was an order. So you've been given orders, and you're following those orders. You have been given an order that, look, tell them to accept £250. We'll give them £250 because £250 is not your decision, is it? So you've been ordered to facilitate the delivery of £250, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you are following orders.
Okay.
All right. So you're following orders, and knowing the fact that those orders and being fully made aware of the circumstances, that those orders or this present circumstances is putting somebody's life in danger. My brother Talib's life in danger. See, Mr. Browell, I presume that you've got a university education, yes?
Yeah.
All right. I presume you're fully qualified. Your rights as an employee are protected. Nobody is putting a gun to your head and forcing you to follow these orders, are they? You could say, I feel very uncomfortable dealing with Talib's situation. I feel compromised in my moral obligations to myself as a citizen. That look, what you're effectively asking me to do, I know the fact that there's a person out there that you're saying I have a duty of care to, as a checking his welfare, that I can't do anything about to improve his condition, and I don't want to work under these circumstances. You've not chosen to do that, have you?
No.
So you have candidly given approval to these orders because you don't see that anything fundamentally wrong with these orders that you're getting. Because you could stand up and say, like, I don't agree with this. If, for example, you get an order tomorrow that Talib's life should be ended, is that something that you would follow? If your superiors put a gun in your hand and said, "Go, we really don't like this Shazad guy, go shoot him," would you do that?
No.
Why not?
Because that's not the remit of my job.
Okay, excellent.
And obviously it's criminal.
All right, it's criminal and it's not in the remit. But can you understand what is in your remit? You're not in a position to help Talib, are you? Because you've not done anything. Talib has asked you one question. Please just tell me how much money you've got of mine. You're not able to facilitate that. But what you are able to facilitate is what the local authority wants. Your employers wants. So you're not in a position to help my brother. You're not in a position to help me. You are following orders. You have a right not to follow those orders. All right. You could say no. I've explained to you that people following orders has led to my mother's murder. Now, people seem to think that, we will just say we were just following orders. But I've just explained to you that the Nuremberg defense is not a legitimate defense in law. So when somebody asks you these very legitimate questions, Mr. Browell, that look, you knew that the circumstances were, endangering life. What did you do to save life? And you're saying, well, I facilitate the orders that effectively, was creating a risk to life. Because you're not doing anything to help Talib. Because Talib, without my prompting, when he saw you, he said, "Look, what's my?" And I think that would be a concern for anybody. You would say, "Look, if I've taken your money and I'm accumulating," that's a very legitimate, sensible, and somebody who was clearly meant to demonstrate capacity. Say, "Look, hey man, how much of my things have you got?" That's the first question he asked you, and you can't even facilitate and help with that. And so I'm just really struggling that what is your role other than to monitor the situation, effectively talk to me to find out, are we at the stage of a crisis? So you can come over and take responsibility and charge and, vilify me. Because that seems to be what the case is here. You're not going to give Talib access to his benefit money. You're not going to give us any access to anything, all right? And you're just waiting for us to die effectively. And if we don't die, you're going to intervene and help our death. That's what you did in my mum's case. I was looking perfectly well after my mum. Within last 338 days of her life, you kicked me out. You kicked me and my brother out, made us homeless, and then effectively you killed her off. So, Mr. Browell, please assist me to understand what your role is, number one, and where do we go moving forward from here? How is Talib going to get access to his anything?
I don't know. Because, like I said, you've got your opinions.
On the face of it, other than just following instructions? Is it the case, the fact that what qualifies you in your job, what makes you really good at your job, is the fact that you are belligerently follow orders without question? All right. That's what makes you, because other people, like for example, Baljan, no doubt would have said, "Look, I feel uncomfortable, like in this position, because you, the local authority, have put me into a position where I know there's the orders that are being given are exposing a vulnerable person to a serious risk of his life. I feel uncomfortable with that because I have a moral conscience, and it plagues my moral conscience to know the fact that a vulnerable person is being exploited like this. And so she understandably could say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. But they said, oh, well, we've got somebody else, Mr. Browell, who unquestionably follows orders, all right? Who does not question, who has no moral compass to gauge anything what he's doing, and he will just blindly follow orders because he just so desperate for the job and the money and the position, all right? So he'll just follow orders who will give it to him. That's how tell me.
I don't think that's the case, though. I think, as far as I'm aware, Balchit was following instructions the same as anyone else, and she hasn't said that she can't work with Talib because of any kind of moral dilemmas. It's because she's gone to work somewhere else in another role, so that's why I've been allocated.
Okay, so what? Okay, all right. What qualifies you to work with Talib?
So I work for CMHT.
Okay. No, what qualifies? No. What qualifies you to work with Talib?
I don't know what qualifies me to work with Talib than working with any other services.
Okay, because now the difference is that
I work in the CMHT.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Would you not agree that in order to facilitate our service, that you have to be able to communicate with the person?
Yes, that would be helpful.
Okay, all right.
I can also request interpreters to be present. If we could arrange if I could arrange to see Talib, I could arrange an interpreter to be present.
Okay, but you when you came down last time, you didn't arrange an interpreter, did you?
No, I wasn't expecting to see him because I haven't been able to see him since I've been allocated.
So you came down to the house, and you were not expecting to see Talib. So why come to the house? Did you come to see me only?
No, because I've been asked to deliver the letter.
Okay, all right.
To bring the £250. So.
Okay, and who were you going to give the £250 to?
I would have given the money to Talib if I would see him, or I would have given the money to you.
Okay, all right. But so you came down with the intention of giving the money to Talib, all right? Or in the absence of giving the money to Talib, you were going to give the money to me. But so you came down with the intention of seeing Talib, didn't you, though?
I was hopeful of that, but
yes.
I didn't think that would be able to see him because I've only met him once.
Okay.
And I've been working probably over a year now.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So, but no. But the point is this: that you've been asked to deliver some money. Your expectation is to see Talib. All right. You're going to his house. It's not the case that you're going to meet him somewhere or he's coming to see you or anything else. You're coming to Talib's house with the expectation of delivering money and speaking to Talib, just to find out you're going to hand over money. You say, "How are you?" But you didn't bring an interpreter, though.
No, because I've probably tried to see Talib, even including Oldham, on 4 or 5 occasions maybe, and I've never been able to.
Yes, but
I've spoken with you prior to that.
Okay.
So my expectation was that.
Irrespective. But on those previous occasions, was it prearranged?
I'm not sure. To be honest, with letters sent out, there could have been.
No. The reality is that on all those previous occasions in Oldham, when you come down to visit Talib or expecting to see Talib, that's been a surprise visit, hasn't it? It has not been something that's been arranged with me that, we're coming and it's something that me and Talib have agreed to. So on those previous occasions, you've effectively driven from Bradford to Oldham on a surprise with a hope and expectation of seeing Talib without it being prearranged. Yes?
I think it's been tried before that visits have been prearranged and they haven't been able to see Talib.
When was this? No, I'm sorry, that's not correct. If a visit has been prearranged, has Baljet not seen Talib?
Yeah, she
yes, okay. And on occasions, she's come over and she's seen Talib when I've been there. There's been an occasion where you've done a surprise visit. I was not aware you were coming. Baljet came down with fungi, and Talib on this occasion opened the door in Oldham, and you said we want to give you money, and he told you to fuck off and give it the money to Shazad. All right. So there have been occasions where he's clearly expressed himself, but we're going around in circles. You've come down. You've not bought an interpreter, and you're saying, well, I expect. Is it not the case that you didn't bring an interpreter down because it costs money? It would have cost you money, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't say I wasn't anticipating to see Talib.
Okay.
So, I mean, I could send you a letter for us to visit again.
No. The question here is that, is it not the case that you did, if you had bought an interpreter, would it have cost money?
There would have been a fee.
Yes. So effectively, you've gone on the assumption that he's not gonna give an access so you can save money. That's right, isn't it?
No, like I said, I didn't think that we'd see Talib.
Okay, but you did see Talib. But you did see Talib, didn't you?
Did see Talib.
And you did try to speak to him.
I said hello,
Yeah.
If he's okay.
Yeah, if he's okay. And he spoke back to you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was no interpreter to interpret. I had to do the interpreting, didn't I?
Yeah.
So you don't effectively know what Talib was saying. I was there to do the interpreting. Now, can you understand that? So who's going to pay for my interpreting services?
I think that was your choice to interpret. She's had sometimes family and relatives to do interpret.
So it's my choice. So you're telling me it's my choice to help save you the council money? Who's already?
No. Not at all. I mean, if you could arrange a number visit and to tell him to be there, I can arrange an interpreter to be present.
No. That is, the horse is already bolted. It's not the case of what you're gonna do next time. I'm not here to teach you. You understand? You're not here to learn off us. You're here. You know that the question arises: what qualifies you to work with Talib? That was the question. You said I work with the city mental health team, but quite clearly Talib has communication skills. Now that answer could be muted because when you've got somebody like Baljit who can speak the language, all right, she can say, look, well, I've got those relevant skills. Is it not the case that compared to Baljit, you are unqualified because you cannot speak the language?
Like I said, I can arrange for an interpreter.
But you didn't though. But the point is, you didn't though. If you can say, see, this is an overhead. So the people that made the decision, so they had somebody like Balji who could speak the language, who had a good rapport with Talib. All right, they said, no, you can move positions on posts, and we're gonna fill this post with somebody who doesn't speak the language. All right, and who effectively, even if he now that he doesn't speak, so we're gonna go for a costlier route because can you understand that when you remove Balji or for whatever reason Balji note has moved on, right? They've allocated you, which is compared to Baljit, you're a more expensive route, aren't you? Because you can't be relying on family to translate, and so therefore you need to bring an interpreter down. So therefore, why have the decision makers allowed Baljit to come off this case, who's still an employee by the council, all right, who still could take on this, continue this role until this role is brought to a conclusion, or alternatively discharge Talib into so he gets a proper social worker. But they've said no. What we're going to do is we're going to remove Baljit for whatever known reasons. What you can say what her reasons are. I have a different understanding of that. So they've moved her on, and they've gone with an option that's far more expensive. Somebody who doesn't have the language skills. Explain to me how that could be justified.
So it depends on who works at City CMHT, and it's my understanding that there wouldn't be anyone available that will be able to speak.
I see. So effectively, so we live in Bradford, all right, which has a high Asian minority population, 20%, I think, and many of your colleagues are of the brown complexion. All right, they're not white Caucasians, they're brown people. The doctors are brown. Okay, there are Dr. Rashmi Dixon, Dr. Nasir, Dr. Sami, all brown people, all ethnic people. All right, and you're telling me that you, the local authority, have nobody qualified to meet Talib's needs of having somebody who can speak the language.
It's not me who allocated myself and why I was allocated. I'm just saying that could be an answer to your question.
That could be is it the answer, or is it more likely my interpretation, which is you're more willing and able to take on on this dubious role, effectively, that's underlyingly racially motivated and causing us a great deal of distress and anxiety and all this other stuff. So you've got your interpretation, which you're saying that could be the case. That I'm just thinking the local authority have no money. Why would they choose this option if it wasn't malevolent? Is it not the case that the decision makers, every decision that's been made is malevolent and detrimental to both me and my brother Talib. So even this decision that removing or allowing Baljit Nota to come off this case, not bringing this case to a conclusion, knowing the fact that my brother's been discharged from the city mental health team, from his psychiatrist, that you've not chosen to end this, but you've just chosen to get somebody who's more willing, compliant and able, namely Mr. Christopher Browell, onto this case, who cannot do anything other than follow orders that the local authority are telling them to do. You have no power as a social worker to influence the decision makers, do you? No, I said you have no power, all right, in your capacity and role as a qualified social worker or other city mental health team to influence the decision makers, do you?
I can relay what you've said. I can bring that to me.
The question.
I can also relay information.
So you could. So you're a relayer. So you're a relay. So you're a relayer.
I can provide my opinion, but whether that opinion is listened to is not up to me.
So it's correct, isn't it? So your role and qualification into this post is to act as a relayer. You're relaying messages from the local authority to Talib to me, and then you're taking my messages as what I'm expressing and relaying them to the local authority. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see what else.
Okay, so okay, that's fair enough. At least we both understand what your role is. Then, is to act as a relay. So I've asked you to relay some information. I've asked you to relay the fact that I'm charging. I've not asked you to do that. I've asked you to relay the fact that right now my brother's in a care home environment, all right, which I'm running, and I've asked you to relay that previously when they removed me, I've made the local authority aware in writing that was a £120 million care home takeover. Last time I asked you to relay that if we are removed from if my brother's removed from this premises, or if I'm removed from this premises, there's going to be a further cost of the new care home that I'm running of £250 million. Did you manage to relay that message?
No, I don't know who I would speak to regarding that.
Okay. Okay, all right. So let me get this right. Your role is to act as a relayer, which we've established.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that is my role generally when I work with people, but in this particular case,
all right. All right.
To
the only
do anything else. This particular case, like I said, we're at kind of an impasse.
Yeah. We've been at. Okay.
Okay. They're expressing my opinion.
Okay, all right. There's no. You've said that you're acting as, in this case. I'm not talking about other cases. In this case, you're acting as a relayer. You're relaying information from the local authority to me, and you're not relaying my information back to the local authority. So it's a one way.
I am, but it's only when it's appropriate to relay that information. It's not. I can't start kind of speaking to my manager and saying.
Why not?
Well, I can't. Not every time that you say that the local authority owes you £20 million. Unfortunately,
No. No, wait on a minute. Just hold on. With all due respect, I did not say 20 million. And with all due respect, so you're not even listening to the information. There seems to be like a mental block. Because, look, this got nothing to do with... I'm not asking for millions of pounds for something else. While Talib was in your care and custody in 2018, you attempted to put him into a care home. All right? He refused to do so. He's now in a care home setting. He's in a care home environment. If my brother was placed into a care home, you would have paid for that services. All right? He's now in a care home setting, and so this is very relevant to his welfare. All right? Talib presently is receiving welfare services from me in a care home setting. I think it's only reasonable and fair for me to make you aware that there's a cost associated with that, and that cost, now, obviously I've made you aware on numerous occasions, on the local authority, there's a weekly cost, all right, which is ongoing, weekly cost of £1 million a week, all right? But the care home, it's not just, it has to, the care is being provided through the vehicle of a care home setting. The care home setting is now the care home that I'm running where Talib is living, which is £250 million. All right, that needs to be relayed, no, because there's a cost associated with it.
Like you said, you've already kind of spoke about this, and I think he's communicated whether via email or letter and things like that. So I don't know what difference it is.
I'll tell you what difference it is. Over the time period, since this has been my agenda, my narrative. I want to get paid for what I'm doing, all right, as a carer. So I want to get paid £1 million a week. That's been established. I've made that aware in public. I've made it aware in court. So I sent emails, counsels, everybody. So everybody's been made aware of that. Everybody knows Talib's receiving care. My mum was receiving care at a cost of £1 million a week. That's been fully. I know. I'm satisfied that the local authority knows this. Okay, boom, they know that. The second point was that when they removed me from the care home, all right, basically kicked me out of the property and my brother Talib effectively out of the property and took over the care home, I've made the local authority aware of the cost associated with that, which is £110 million. Sorry, £120 million. Because you effectively unlawfully bought off a judge in order to kick us out of the house at the height of a pandemic. All right, so there's a cost associated because everything in the house has now been taken. What I wanted to make you aware of was 2 points. What I wanted you to relay equally, which they're not aware of, which I've not written down, is that the new care home, which is since February this year, that I've taken over the care home, which you're trying to kick us out of, but there's still a care home setting, so the £1 million a week is still accumulating, that you're still owing. The new care home, because obviously I've spent a lot of considerable amount of time, effort, money, resources into developing a new care home for my brother. So this new care home is £250 million. That has not been articulated in writing. Therefore, I've told you that I'm recording these calls. I'm making so you, the local authority, need to be made aware of this. We've had a conversation previously, and I said, "Who do I need to tell?" I said, "Tell it to Kirsten Ingle. Tell it to the solicitors." The new care home, which you're attempting to remove us from, now has an additional £250 million cost if you remove us. If you don't remove us, all right, I don't think I'm not sure what my options are there. But if you remove us, there's a £250 million cost in addition to the £1 million a week that I'm charging. I asked you to relay that information. The other thing I asked you to relay was the fact that when I entered the property had been burglarized. All right, namely, the local authority got one of their tenants, which is my sister, Shaida B. Hussain, who's acting as a local authority operative, in addition with the housing association, to remove everything from the property. Now, when you removed everything from the property, unwittingly, you've removed my Bitcoin wallet. The Bitcoin wallet had 1,100 Bitcoins in it. All right. Now, the reason I can't put a figure on it is because, as you can appreciate, Bitcoin value changes over time. So I'm not sure what price I should charge. Is it at the price when I entered the property, when it was stolen? So there's some vagary there. But in addition, that was 20 million. I think it's something in excess of £20 million. But that's the cost of the burglary, which includes, not limited to, but includes my fish tanks. It includes my new shed. It includes my chicken run. It includes our sofas. It includes a lot of items that have been removed from the premises and burglary.
I've added all that to notes, yeah, that's all been added to the notes.
Okay, and so I asked you to add that to the notes and relay that information. Has that been relayed to anybody?
Like I said, and I think I said at the time, it's not something that I would contact the manager about. What I would do is I would wait until the next professionals meeting, and then I would provide a background to any kind of update.
Okay. But as far as I'm all right, okay.
At that point, I'd speak about the monies and the items missing.
Okay, because can you understand it's a care home. Some of the items are mine. So, but and you're saying, well, that's not my mum's house being burgled and my property being taken has got nothing to do with you and Talib. All right, your role in Talib's carer. But I said, no, that's not correct, because part of what's been burgled is everything from Talib's bedroom. All right. So that's where your involvement does come in. So Talib effectively has been burgled. I'm not going to isolate his items and my items and my mum's items. I'm just going to put a lump sum value on there. The most significant being the cost of the Bitcoin wallet, which is into the tens of millions of pounds. All right, that's the most expensive item. Other equally expensive items have been removed, but not as of a value. Now I've made you, the council, aware of that. Whenever you choose to relay that to your seniors or whatever, that's up to yourself, right? That's nothing to do with me. I've made you aware. I've not pursued any legal action at this moment. Because obviously, as you can appreciate, me and my brother are still bereaving our mother's loss, all right, and we're also having to, I'm also having to work and accommodate all the, I'm not had an opportunity to pursue this, and I don't want to pursue this at this moment in time, because at the end of the day, you're taking a very lackadaisical approach. Well, we've taken all the money, we've taken all the resources, let him yabber on about millions of pounds, we're not going to pay him. But every week that goes by, my costs are accumulating, and you will have to pay because, look, all right, Mr. Browell, do you personally feel that it's unfair for me to charge £1 million a week?
It sounds like a lot of money.
Okay, all right. So, do you think I should work for free then?
I'm not sure whether you'd say that it was particularly working. It's a caring duty for one of your family.
No. You're saying it's not work then? You're saying what I'm doing is not work? Yeah?
I'm saying it's a caring duty.
Okay, all right. So if I was not doing this, who would be doing it?
So there'd be an assessment to see what Talik's care needs are, and then we'd probably try and identify a care provider to provide that support.
Okay, and would you pay them?
They would be paid.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so they would be paid to do exactly the same job that I'm doing.
Yes, as I say.
Yes. Okay, that's correct, isn't it? So so thank you for that. So they would get paid for exactly the work that I'm doing, and I'm doing the job.
You'd be entitled to receive carers allowance. That's the way it would be.
No. Look. Carers allowance is, how much is carers allowance a week?
Is it about £80 or something like that?
Okay, let's just say, and how many hours do I have to do for that £80?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Is it not the case that I have to do minimum of 35 hours?
I'm not sure.
Well, like I said, you don't know about, is carers allowance a minimum wage?
I don't know enough about carers allowance.
Okay, right. So you're talking about something that you don't know anything about. I know a lot about it because I'm a carer, right? And I'm trying to explain to you that how can you accept that you're doing one job? Like, for example, you're doing a job. Let's just, for argument's sake, saying you're laying a brick.
I really need to get off.
Okay, all right. All right. Okay. We'll look to rearrange. Just hold on 1 second. This is a very poignant point here. If you're doing a job like laying some bricks and you're getting £10 an hour, all right, and a woman comes along and she lays the same number of bricks in this hour, why would she get paid less?
Because it depends if that person's related or not. I would assume.
No, I'm asking you. No. Wait on a minute. Just hold on a second. I'm asking you about bricklaying and the disparity between men getting paid one amount and women getting paid another amount.
I don't know. I can't comment on that. I don't know what relevance that has.
I'll tell you what relevance it has, because arguments are being made now in the mainstream and in society that if a man does a job and a woman does a job, they should get paid the same amount. Do you agree with that?
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, because if you don't agree with that, what you're saying to me, I'm a sexist, and I think men should get paid more because men have more value than women do. You're not saying that, are you?
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah. So you're saying that men and women, if they're doing the same job, they should get paid the same amount of money. Now, what you're saying, what relevance it has is that I'm doing the same job that somebody else would be doing, and they get paid for it, and I don't get paid for it. And you're saying the reason for that is because I'm related to the person. All right?
Like I said, it's not something that's out of my hands. It's not up to me how much you get paid.
Okay.
As a relative.
No.
I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. But the question I asked you, I said, do you think £1 million is a lot of money a week? You said yes. And I said, do you think I should get paid nothing then? All right. And you don't agree with that I should get paid nothing. You're saying I should get carers allowance. I'm saying that's not minimum wage. So that's a violation of my rights. But you know, you the local authority were paying £410 a week to do this job. All right. Now you're not paying that money. So you know, like, how much? If £1 million is too much, and a zero amount is classed is discrimination and would be classed as slavery. So how much do you think I should get paid?
It's not up to me to make that
No,
decision.
no, but
like I said, it's my understanding that there's carer's allowance available for people who are looking after their own family.
okay, all right. No, you said £1 million is too much, so you've got an opinion, haven't you? You personally, Mr. Christopher Browell, have a personal opinion. I'm asking about your personal opinion now, not what the system is saying. Your personal opinion is the fact that £1 million is too much.
It sounds like a lot of money.
It sounds.
I think if everybody who
No,
paid
no.
for their family was paid
No, I
£1
don't.
million a
Well,
week,
not everybody in not. But sorry, with respect, not everybody who cares for their family members has been criminally convicted and sent to jail, have they?
no.
And what was I criminally convicted and sent to jail for? But looking after my family members. That's all, effectively, wasn't it? So the question still remains: if it's your opinion, £1 million is excessive, what is reasonable then?
It's not really.
What's your opinion? What's your opinion, Mr. Browell? Because you expressed an opinion regarding the £1 million. Is it not? It's not your. You didn't say it's not my place to say £1 million is too much.
Like I said, it's my understanding that you will be entitled to carer's allowance.
I didn't ask what my entitlements are. I asked what your opinion is, because you expressed an opinion.
My opinion is that your entitlement would be carer's allowance.
No. So your opinion is that I should get paid £80 a week. Yes. You think that's a reasonable, because that's what the law says, that I should get paid £80 a week. Yes.
If that's what your entitlement would be,
all right.
then,
yeah. So all right. So can you tell me? Can you please justify to me how you believe that me getting £80 a week is justified when I don't have to work? And so let me see how much hours I work. I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without a break. So that's, I think, 158 hours a week. So £80, all right, £80 divided by 152 hours. It works. So you're saying that I should my value, all right, the work that I do is worth 52 pence an hour, and you think that's so you think that's justified? So you think that.
The way that it would usually work. However, if it was possible to arrange for a direct payment to pay yourself, which I'm not sure if that's possible.
Forget that. Forget all that other stuff. Forget all that other stuff. Mr. Browell. Mr. Browell. Forget the direct payments. We're not talking about direct payments. We're not talking about anything else. I'm telling you that I'm charging £1 million a week. You're saying no, that's too much. In my opinion, that seems a lot of money. I'm saying, what's the alternative to pay me nothing? That would be classed as slavery, because I am working, all right. But you're then saying that because so let me understand this. Should I be punished because I'm related to Talib?
No,
I shouldn't be punished, should I? I shouldn't. It's not my fault that Talib's got mental health problems, is it? Just like it's not anybody's fault who has a disabled child. All right, they shouldn't be punished, should they? So can I understand, why am I being punished for being related to somebody who's got mental health problems? Because also,
if you want to get into that situation, Shazad, then I could complete a Care Act assessment, and then I would go to a social care panel about funding for the level of Talib's care and support needs, and then we could have a discussion.
Yeah,
of
because you know what
we could follow that process.
That process is not. With respect, I believe you're just giving me red tape here, because with the bottom line is this: the local authority have had plenty of opportunities to carry out carers assessment. I've begged them to carry out a carers assessment. In my mother's case, they didn't do so, because irrespective of whether you carry out the carers assessment or not, I am providing 168 hours a week care for my brother. He requires 24-hour care, 7 days a week. I'm providing that. I am giving up my life. I've not got married. I've explained to you previously, I've got a university education. I've got a software engineering degree, all right, which I've had to park away and not use. So I can't have a career, all right? So you can have a career and make money out of Talib. That's what it comes down to effectively, doesn't it? Because I'm entitled to be remunerated for my labor. And what you're saying to me is that your labor has no value. But I'm saying, how can that make sense? Because if I don't do it, you do it, and you have to pay money. So you quite clearly realize that a minimum wage is, I think, £10 an hour. So you're going to pay somebody £10 an hour. So that so quite rarely you would pay. So it's not the case if I stopped doing it that you wouldn't have to do it. You would have to do it, wouldn't you? And you would have to pay. So,
it would be a care act assessment,
Oh no! If I stopped,
But that's just the process.
Mr. Browell, irrespective of the process that you're asking me to follow, irrespective, Talib has care needs. All right, those needs are being met by me. I'm providing 24-hour care 7 days a week. All right, though if I didn't provide that, it's not the case that Talib would not have those needs anymore. Those needs that Talib.
We need to assess his care needs. We can't, until there's a care act assessment, then it's difficult to identify someone's care needs.
Yeah, okay, all right. But the bottom line is that you had him in your care and custody from the 6th of August until December 2018. So you had ample opportunity to identify what his care needs are. So I'll just tell you what his care needs are right now in 2 minutes. He requires 24-hour care, full 24-hour care, 7 days a week, maximum care. All right, but he needs somebody here 1 hour every hour to provide him his incontinent needs, food. I help him eat. I help clean his poop away from his clothes when he's overflowing. So he requires maximum care, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that it comes down to I've done direct payments. I've done carers assessment. It's 168 hours a week. All right. That's his care needs. Boom, that's it. No, we've just done, we've just done a cares assessment right here, right now. That's it. Nobody can disagree that Talib requires 24-hour care, 7 days a week, is doubly incontinent, and obviously has mental health problems. Boom, done. Right, 5 minutes, his care assessment's finished with. Now that's going to equate to 168 hours a week. Now what you want to do is because I'm related to Talib, you want me to do that for free. Or you want to fob me off with like what you were doing before, £410 a week. So I said no. I said
to get any funding, I would have to complete the actual care act assessment, not just say that that's what you said. I'd need to properly assess the care needs, and then that needs to go to my manager. They would then approve it that it could go to a social care panel. Then I would present a social care panel with regards to the level of care and the amount of funding that could be provided for the level of that care.
All right, okay.
Isn't it the case that you say on the phone what someone's care needs are?
Yes. No. What you're explaining to me is your process, which is red tape. Why has this not been followed previously? He was on a care plan. All right, was receiving £410 a week. All right, since August, which I stopped in August 2012, 10 years ago. So in 10 years, you've not managed to do a care plan. All right.
Because speak for yourself, I haven't been able to see Talib. So if you want me to arrange for a care assessment, we can arrange.
No, because the outcome, you're telling me to follow a process where the outcome we know about. You're not going to pay him 168 hours a week, are you?
That would be unlikely, no.
Yes.
But in those situations, the person wouldn't be given one-to-one care. They would be in a care home.
Yes, that's right. And what happens if they don't want to go into a care home?
Then that will probably have to be brought to the social care panel for a decision to be
made
on that.
And so,
they would agree or disagree with that.
Okay. And so thank you for explaining that to me. So because of money, if a person requires 168 hours a week, and that's too expensive, right? His personal choice of liberty gets put to one side, doesn't it? It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what his choices are. We're not going to pay 100. So you're not going to pay 168 hours a week. So his only option is to go into a care home because it's cheaper, isn't it? Why does he need to go into a care home if he requires 168 hours a week, other than it being cheap?
Why does he need to be in a care home? I would have thought that if you're relying on one person, if that person becomes ill and things like that, obviously to scare a burnout, they'd also recommend that a person will be in 24-hour care in a residential home.
Okay.
And that would be
But okay, so that's one argument, innit? Well, another person argument can be, I don't want to be with strangers. I don't want to be in an institution. I don't want to. I don't want to have my voice muffled. I want to be. I have a human right to be with my family. All right. I have a right to be independent. I have a right to be autonomy. I have a right to make my decisions in my own life. I have a right not to, engage with other people that are from a different culture. I have a right to make my own decisions in life. So those are counter arguments not to go into a care home. All right, which are equally valid.
Absolutely, that's right.
Yeah, so that's equal. So coming back to the point of if somebody requires, like my brother requires, 168 hours a week of care, why would you not pay for that?
I'm not saying it wouldn't be paid for, but like I say, it'd be a decision made by the panel. We've
Yeah.
been on nearly an hour and a half, and I've got other cases.
Okay, well, all right, Mr. Browell, we can because we've been on this case many hours, nothing is getting resolved, is it? All I'm doing is I'm venting out my situation. All right, I'm recording it for prosperity. I'm explaining to you, look, how I'm being victimized and victimized by the state. My brother's being victimized by the state. So all I can do is express that to you. It would be unfair of me to express this in writing to you because it'll be maybe 40 pages. So we've had an hour and a half of conversation. Where are we leaving things? Because obviously I have grave concerns that you, the local authority, have had access to his medical records. You have multidisciplinary meetings, where we're not involved. We have no involvement in that. Decisions are being made about our life where we don't get a choice or any opinion about what decisions are being made. You're quite clearly explaining to me if we sit down and do a care assessment and Talib gets determined to understand that Talib gets identified as requiring 168 hours of a care a week, that the options on table are going to be forcing him into going to a care home. If we don't agree with that, you can take legal action and force him to go into a care home because you would make those arguments that it's in his best interest and everything else, so his liberty gets deprived of him, so you can save money. We've gone through all this stuff, okay, but nothing's being resolved here. You're saying there's been multidisciplinary meetings, it's going to go to a resource panel. Who's on the resource panel? We started this conversation back in 2012, all right? The resource panel, we went to the resource panel, all right, and who's on the resource panel? Mark Truin, all right, who's then subsequently been victimizing us. So when it goes to it's not going to go to a person. It's not going to go to it's going to go to a decision maker, a person like Mark Truin, who was the head of resources at the time, who's now been replaced by Nadia Khan while he's on secondment to the NHS. So we're back at square one, where nothing's getting resolved. You're just giving us processes to jump through hoops, going through your processes. The outcome is the same. So because of this, because of the fact that nothing's getting resolved and Talib's life is being, because he's got finite days left to live, he's got a finite life. So this is one that I said, look, you know what? You can't do the job. I'm doing the job. I'm just going to invoice you. I'm going to invoice you £1 million a week because you know how much money you're getting from the government. Because all right, Mr. Browell, just one more question, and then we can bring the conversation to a close. If my brother was assessed as entitlement to a couple of hours a week, and he was going to be getting paid, let's just say £410 a week, where do you, the council, get that money from?
I think it's from council tax payments of people who live in the city.
So the people of the city would be paying for that. Is it not the case that the council tax also pays for police, it pays for the fire brigade, it's a separate cost, and that cost does not cover the cost of complete social care? Is it not the case that, and I have this on good authority, that the revenue that the local authority raise is subsidized by the central government, who pay about 80% of the rest of the money? Because council tax alone does not meet all your costs, does it?
Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's subsidised by the government. I thought that it was no longer subsidised by the government anymore.
But no, it's been substantially. Obviously, the fact that I'm sure you listen to the news all the time. £1 billion has been set forward by Boris Johnson regarding social care back in September. More money was being allocated to the local authority to meet social care. So is it not the case that the money that you're getting is from central government? Majority of social care money that you're getting to meet Talib's need is not even your money, is it? It's not money that you're getting as a council tax, it's government money.
Right, if you say so, Shazad, I don't know.
Okay, all right. Look, that is a fact. And this is what I'm complaining about, is that you're just money keepers Like, for example, the money that Talib's getting from social security money, that's not your money. You're just controlling it. All right, that's Talib's money, innit, from work and pensions that he's not getting. So you're just controlling it. So you're just basically controlling the money and not giving us the money that he's entitled to. All right, so that's the bottom line. All right, Mr. Browell, when can we speak next, so I can get determination of where we stand with regards to his money, and how are you going to resolve? How are you, who's now in a position to look after his welfare, going to deal with all these outstanding serious issues? No access to any healthcare services, no access to his benefit money, no access to security of accommodation, nothing. So how are you going to resolve any of these things?
Like I said, I can only
relay. You can only relay. Okay,
yeah.
well, just relay this. Take your time. We're fine. I'm here. I'm a qualified person. I've been a carer now for the last 20 years of first-hand experience. You've got a fully qualified person who's not going to endanger my brother's life. All right, I'm going to make sure that he gets the best service that he could possibly get. Which he's presently receiving, and that's going to be maintained. And obviously, I'm worth, Mr. Browell, let me reiterate this. I am worth every single penny of the £1 million a week that I charge. I am not worthless. My labor has value, which you are benefiting from as a local authority. My labor is not for free. I do not give, irrespective of who else it is, I do not give my labor for free. All right, I'm worth every single penny. You're lucky that I'm charging you £1 million a week, because I could charge you a lot more, because I'm worth a lot more. Don't tell me as a local authority that I'm nobody. I'm worthless. I deserve nothing. I, in return, say I am worthless. I'm not worthless. I'm worth everything. I'm worth my weight in gold, if not more so. I'm not worthless. I'm worth every single penny. And I'm not nobody. And you not degrade and humiliate me like this. All right, you, the local authority, are degenerate, malevolent, incompetent buffoons who cannot manage your own money. You were paying money to my brother, effectively to me, for 5 years, and you did not audit the record. You cannot manage money. You, the local authority, cannot do your job. You're abusing your power and position in order to selectively victimize and persecute me. And I assure you, every single person on this planet is going to hear about the travesty and villainy that you're committing against me and my family members, and the fact that you viciously molested and murdered my mother. That's all I have to say on the matter, Mr. Browell. Thank you for your time. Please, can you arrange when we can speak next?
Okay, Shazad. Yeah, it will be this week because I haven't.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, no problem. You don't have time. You've got no resources. I'm still here. I'm still charging £1 million a week. If that £1 million you think is no problem to you, you want to waste another £1 million in order to waste another week, that's fine. Okay, we'll leave it till next week. What day next week?
Just check. Could it be towards the end of next week? Is that all right?
Well, that would make it 2 weeks then.
Well, with that, I don't know what answers.
Mr. Browell, you left me Mr. Browell, we spoke last week. You said I'm going to call you back on Friday with an update after I've spoken to Imran from finances. You left me a message. I rang up today to find out what that update is. You've said Imran has said that you can't tell my brother how much money you've accumulated of his benefit money. You've said today in the conversation you're going to go back to Mr. Muller and ask him if they can change that decision because it's discriminatory. Talib can't write in. And on the one hand, they've told... So just wait on a minute. Let me just clarify this. When we spoke previously, you said you should ask Talib to write a letter saying I want the balance. So he would have gone through a process of writing the letter and signing it and sending it to yourself. And now today you've told me the fact that even if he had wrote the letter and signed it, he still is not entitled to get his balance of his benefit money that you're accumulating. That's correct, yes?
So I spoke to Ishmael, who said to write a letter. Ishmael was on annual leave last week. I spoke to Imran. Imran then provided the different advice. So maybe it's just a difference of opinion between Imran and Ishmael. However, if that's what Ishmael said, that if a letter could be provided with Talib's signature, then that's what he did say was the case. So I would hope it was provided by
so how long is okay? So how long is it going to take you to determine whether Imran's right or Ishmael's right?
It depends when I can speak with Ishmael. But I mean, you did say that Talib wouldn't be able to send that letter or be able to sign it. And
no, I did not say that. No, I'm sorry. You're misquoting me. Yeah. Obviously, I've said that. What would be the point of him writing it? He can't read English. He can't read English, and he can't write English, and so therefore I would have to draft it, and then he can't sign it. He understands things, but once again, it would be. Are we not glad now that we did not write a letter and sign it because Ishmael could have said no, as an appointee, he's not entitled. So he's not entitled to his own balance of how much benefit money you're accumulating. So we need it. So you've not come back with any clarity. The original question put to you was this: that Mr. Mullah has asked Mr. Talib to write things down and sign it. And I said, well, he's already done that. He's given me complete authority through his, lasting power of attorney. He signed it. He understands it. He has mental capacity. And how is this not an act of discrimination? In order to avoid being an act of discrimination, you're saying, well, he's not even entitled to it. That's why you come back to us. So I will require you to speak to me sometime towards the end of the week, this week, to find out clarity of understanding. Look, I can sit here and speak for 1.5 hours. I can sit here, Mr. Mullah, Mr. Browell, I can sit here and speak for 5 hours. Nothing is going to get resolved. We got no clarity. We've been speaking 1.5 hours, going around in circles. You tell me this. Why? Now my brother, who asked you specifically how much money you're accumulating, how does he get that information? On the one hand, he said he can't have that information if he writes to us and signs a letter. I said that won't be happening because obviously that's discriminatory. He's asked for something, he's put something verbally to you. Then we'll accept the fact that you're discriminating against him. You've now come back and said, well, actually, it doesn't matter if he signs a letter and submits it. We're still not going to tell him what the balance is because he's not entitled to it.
That's because you're telling me when I need to get you an answer for, and if a person is on annual leave, I cannot change that. So I can only speak to someone who is standing in for that person when they're on annual leave.
Okay.
So because you're saying you need to call me back by this certain day and time, if I haven't got the answers for you, there's nothing I can do about it.
Okay, all right. So, but we've been on, we've been on this question for a number of months, if not several months now. Can you please help us find out answer Talib's question? How much money has he got? Now, if the avenue is for him to write a letter and sign it, all right, then you need to explain to us why he needs to do that. Because he's orally done that. He's told you when you came down in May, he asked you how much money have you accumulated. And so he's done that already orally. He's made an oral request. Because anything you're asking us to write is then classed as discrimination because he can't read and write.
What I'll do, Shazad, is when I do speak to either Imran or Ishmael, if that is the case, I will ask them to send a letter stating why that is the case. So rather than me passing on that information, they can state in a letter whether it's addressed to you or and addressed to Talib to explain why he can't be told.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because that's a way forward. At least I don't mind. I would prefer it in writing. But could you address it to me as I deal with his correspondence? He doesn't read and write English, so writing him directly is pointless. Point number one. Point number two is that I need to understand why he needs to write. It needs to be explained to me and Talib. When a vulnerable person who does not read and write English has verbally articulated that he wants a balance, that you're asking, number one, explain to us in writing why you want it in writing, because he's already expressed it orally, and oral is just as good as written, all right? So he's made basically oral request rather than a written request. You're forcing. So you need to explain to us why he needs to be forced to put things in writing, all right, and how that's not discriminatory. And number one is that. Secondly, if you're asking us to put things in writing, then why are you telling us that he's not entitled to his own balance because you're his appointee? And if you are his appointee, justify to us how you are fulfilling your role as his appointee when he's not giving him unfettered access to his benefit money. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because obviously we need nothing is getting resolved. You understand? On one hand, I would just spend an hour and a half explaining to you that my brother's life's in danger because nothing's getting resolved. And you're saying, well, we're happy for that to stay, the status quo to remain, which has now been remaining since February. And we want this position to remain indefinitely because we're saving money effectively every week because we're not paying for anything. And I'm having to waste my money. All right? I'm having to waste my money taking responsibility for a person that you've criminally convicted me of and taken £500,000 from me. So you understand this situation, Mr. Browell, it's all very well you listening and relaying information, but nothing is getting resolved, is it? And we want deadlines when things are going to be resolved. £1,000 has been taken from my bedroom that's not being returned to us. My Bitcoin wallet's been stolen. My mother's jewelry has been taken that's not being returned to us. I can't execute my mother's will because of the local authority's position. And all the local authority are doing is sitting on the wall, fiddling their thumbs, waiting for a crisis to happen. This is not acceptable, Mr. Browell. And you personally have to have some accountability of why you are not in a position to influence anybody. We're suffering, all right? We are suffering because of malevolence by the local authority who are then claiming to be a city of culture, all right? And they've murdered our family members. They've murdered my brother Nazem. They've murdered my father. They've recently murdered my mother. You've kidnapped my mother and murdered her.
I need to answer this call. I'll put you on hold a second. Please hold. Hi, Shazad, you alright?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, but I can give you a call next week. I can't allot any more time this week to this. It's an hour. I've got 30 cases and I've got assessments and things like that.
But you're trying to say your time is valuable, all right, and you cannot afford to give me more of your time, which is public expense. But yeah, my time is valuable too. But does not who's got Mr. Browell, you're right now at work. This hour and a half is not coming out of your pocket, is it? In fact, you're getting paid to listen to me, aren't you? This hour and a half you're going to get paid for, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right, who's going to pay for my hour and a half?
Yeah, I don't know. We already spoke about it.
No, we haven't. My time is. You're saying because the government, because society does not put a value on what I do, which is the hardest job ever. You're saying we're not even gonna. It's just so complicated, so expensive. We're not even gonna bother paying you. But my time, I've spent I could spend this half a time, 1.5 hours doing housework. I could have spent running my care home. I could have spent this time bringing my brother Talib care, providing care. I've taken my time out. You see, this is what it comes down to. Whatever you're getting paid has value, and what my hours has no value. And you're saying we the decision makers, we're deciding that your time has no value, our time does. And I'm saying, who gives you the right to put a value on my labor? All right, I'm putting a value on my labor. This 1.5 hours, there's a cost to it. I'm charging you for that too. Why should I give up my time in order to facilitate malevolence and fraud and corruption by the local authority who can't do the job properly? So, Mr. Browell, I don't mean to become irate to you. I understand you've been very patient and I appreciate the time that you're giving me. But you're not doing me any service by giving me your time. You're here to do a job which you, the local authority, are failing in, which is to provide care and support for my brother, who's a vulnerable person, who you're neglecting in the community. So please, can you try to relay my information, and we'll hopefully speak next week. And in the meantime, I expect to get a letter from Mr. Muller explaining to me why my brother's not entitled to simply get a balance of the benefit money that you're fraudulently stolen from him and are accumulating. Please, can you just relay that, and I'll bring our conversation to a close.
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Browell. Have a nice week. Have a good time. I'm no doubt you're going to be busy, but obviously try to understand that I am a very busy person too, and my time is not for free. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for that.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
They're just basically and expecting me to take it without any issue, without any resolve, without anything, all right? And for us to continue to suffer. How is this a city of culture when the fact that they are murdering people and are covering it up by buying off the judges who are rent boys, prostituting out their services for predefined orders, all to protect and safeguard themselves, and place me and my brother and my mother and my family members into victimhood? Absolutely insane. Time is not going to come back, and I made sure that I've fully articulated and expressed what I need to express, because this is tyranny by the back door. He's accepted that what I'm doing they would pay for, but when I'm doing it I don't get paid for it. All right, how is that any different from when a man does a job and a woman gets paid a different amount for the same job? This is just pure discrimination. And as you can see from the many conversations I've had with him, he can't deny what I'm saying as being factually correct and truthful. But obviously we're now, because basically the local authority are refusing to budge, and what they want to do is this right to freedom of choice and liberty is just choices. They're just nice words, aren't they? When it comes down to it, if somebody requires 24-hour care 7 days a week, right, 168 hours a week, but what we're going to say is that your freedom and liberty, we're going to force you into a care home because you're a danger to yourself because of the choices that you've made. So we're going to force you into a care home, and then we're going to strip away all your assets, and we're going to make money out of it. So it's in our interest to force you into a care home and then take over your assets and liquidate your assets so we can continue, so we can effectively make it profitable for us. All right, so we take a net liability, which is our duty of care to provide 24-hour care 7 days a week. We want to save costs on that. We don't want to compromise. We don't want to pay you as a relative anything. We want to exploit your labor so we can get free labor out of you. And if we can't exploit your labor, then what we're going to do is we're going to deprive the vulnerable person of all his freedom and liberty, force him into a care home, take over all his finances, liquidate all his assets, and the person has no right or has no entitlement to know how much money he's got, so he can leave in his will to his children or anything like this, or manage his own finances. At a time when the local authority cannot do the basics of managing their own money. They've not been in a position to audit his direct payments for 5 years, and then all of a sudden when I pull them up on this great failure, they've colluded and conspired and falsely put me into prison so that they can continue this racketeering game. It's a racket. It's a mafia cartel racket that they're running, and making me a victim of it. Well, we'll see what happens.